Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Wednesday, the 11th of March. My name is Owen, and here is what is on my mind today. So, sadly, as is usual, Wednesdays are just getting ahead of me, so I don't really have time to put up a full video. So this is just going to be a quick thought video. I think Wednesdays going forward is going to be increasingly more like this, just because I'm really busy at work and I don't have time to come home and dedicate the time I need to put up a full video. But I want to make sure this content keeps coming. So a quick thought video today is it's going to be about Harvey Weinstein. Now, by the time this video is uploaded, we may already know the length of Harvey Weinstein's sentence, because he's been sentenced today for 2 counts which he was convicted of. And I don't need to go into details because this has been all over the news, so if you've even clicked on this video, you kind of know what it's about. So what I want to talk about is his lawyer's defense, because apparently the sentence could be up to something between 25 and 28 years. I'm hearing conflicting things. For these 2 counts, he could spend up to 28 years in prison. Now, his lawyers have argued that it should be about 5 years for 3 reasons, and I'm going to sort of give my view on each one. So the first one is his age. He said he's elderly, there's a chance he could die in prison. My response to that is he did not care about the age of these women. That wasn't part of his mindset, so we shouldn't care either. We go after, countries and governments go after war criminals who are well into their 80s and 90s. Age should not be a determining factor. When he committed the crimes, he was of an age to know by many decades that what he was doing was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. So the fact that he's now saying, oh, well, he's old, so go gentle on him. No, I'm sorry, that's just not a defence for me. The second one is his health. Oh, he's in poor health, and again, he shouldn't be in prison for too long. First and foremost, the whole use of the walker thing. From what I understand, if you look at videos of him when he was kind of being accused of all this stuff, he was fit as a fiddle, and he was attending premieres, walking around and bold as brass. And as soon as he had to go appear in court, all of a sudden he's infirm and he's hunched over a walker and all this lot. Again, he was healthy enough to do these horrible things, and maybe his health has deteriorated, I don't know. But again, that cannot be a mitigating circumstance. It cannot be, well, now that he's poorly, we need to be lenient with him. Because again, it's, what he did has a lifelong impact on the people he did it to. So you can't now say, well, let's sympathise with him. I mean, I suppose you could, but for my mind, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. The fact that you're now ill does not deteriorate, does not lessen what you did and what you've been convicted of. But the main reason I'm doing this video, and the main one I wanted to talk about here, is they've also argued because of his contribution to the entertainment world. They say he should have a more lenient sentence because of his commitment and his kind of contribution to the world of the arts and the movies. This one really annoys me. Now, the first 2 you could argue, if you're a gentler soul than me, you could argue yes, he's old and maybe this, or maybe he's ill and this, that, and this one, for me, there is no discussion. The fact that he did bad things does not in any way dilute the bad things he did. Now, to the wider public, that is a consideration we can make as consumers, but on the outside of this case. So, in the recent Me Too movement, there's lots of kind of celebrities and actors who've been accused of many things. And some of them have very, very good film careers. And for us as outsiders, we can make our own judgments like, right, okay, so they've been accused of this or they've been convicted of this. They also have this body of work, which I used to appreciate. And you can decide, and it's a very personal decision, whether you're still going to watch and enjoy that, those movies, that entertainment, knowing that the person involved in it was also guilty of these things. That is a personal judgment, and that is down to you. And I'm not going to judge you either way. If you want to watch movies starring a certain person who has since been convicted of something, it's a huge discussion, and people very rarely sort of pick a side over the other, because a movie is not an actor. A movie is hundreds of people, and if you do not support the movie based on one individual's actions, even if they're the star, especially if it's a movie that's just come out, because a lot of movies were held back or were hindered by the fact that their stars, upon release, had this cloud of accusation hanging over him. So, you know, if you wanted to support the movie, but not the actor, but kind of everybody else who contributed to it, because, you know, everybody else put in loads of hard work, and then should this one actor's behaviour tank the movie, you know, and the studio maybe not support that kind of cast and crew again based on one person's action? It's a whole thing, and you can do that. In regards to this case, it shouldn't matter, because, and here's why. For the people involved, for these women involved, I will bet my life that at no point during the experience of the most horrific thing they probably will ever go through did they stop halfway through, take a beat and go, this is horrendous. But Pulp Fiction was good, so, you know, let's give him a pass. No point. So Weinstein's lawyers arguing, well, he's done a lot of good. You cannot take that into account in regards to this particular charge. I just don't understand why it's even an argument, saying, well, they've done a lot of good things. It's an argument we hear a lot, slightly differently, but when people have been on death row for a number of years, and they have been on death row because they have done something horrible. Let's say they've killed people, which is usually the offence that gets you on there. But they've been on death row for decades, and in those decades they have found Jesus, and they have supported youngsters, and they have, you know, helped change people's lives and stop young people following the path that they went down. So you could argue their contribution is meaningful. What they have done, their contribution, directly kind of impacted and saved lives. It is hard to argue that somebody making great movies are lifesavers, and that their contribution should be a mitigating circumstance for the horrible things they've done. Even, you know, a lot of the time, these death row people, when people plead for clemency based on, look at all the good they've done, it's very rare it's granted. They're like, yes, they've done all this great stuff, but people do great stuff every day without the horrible incident at the beginning. There are people out there now who've never committed a crime, who do incredible selfless things to help young people, and, you know, the elderly, and people who are impoverished, and people who have, you know, learning difficulties and this kind of thing. So, yeah, but in this case, it's just, you know, like I say, you can argue the age thing. And again, if you're, like I say, a gentler soul than me, you might say, well, if he is old, you know, is 5 years in prison would be enough to teach him a lesson? I don't know. You can say, yes, he is very, you know, ill at the minute, rightly or wrongly, because I don't buy the Walker thing, and a lot of people don't either. It seems an act to garner sympathy, which is heinous. But let's say he's generally ill. Again, some people could argue, well, you know, do we want him to die in prison? And, you know, because it also punishes his friends and family, because, you know, they will have to suffer as well because he's away from them and he may die in prison. And, you know, again, some people could argue that. I don't see how you could argue his contribution to movies as a mitigator. And the fact that they're doing it, it just seems bizarre to me. I mean, they might just be throwing everything and seeing what sticks. None of this might matter. You know, the sentencing might just go ahead as it was going to go ahead, and their pleas might not have any effect whatsoever. But the fact that it's even in there is like, well, look, he's made movies. He did horrible things. Horrible things. Yeah, but these movies are really good. Okay, it doesn't take away from that in this circumstance. To us on the outside, we can make the judgment. We can say, okay, from my perspective, I like these movies, and I'm still going to enjoy them knowing that he had a hand in them, even though he's done this. Or you can say, no, I'm going to not watch that kind of media now because he was a part of it, and I just will not have anything to do with anything that's got his name on it. That is something, somebody on the outside, that's a decision you can make. But in regards to the case, I don't think you can. I don't think you can argue it. Because these women, like, it doesn't matter to them that he's done a great film. He did a horrible thing to them. And like I say, in the moment, they're not thinking, well, he's done nice things as well, so let's not judge him too harshly. No, he destroyed their lives. So, yeah, like I say, just my mind, it baffles me why this is even a defence. I suspect lawyers just kind of, like I say, they throw everything. Anything that might get them leniency or clemency, they will throw it in there because they're fighting for their client. And again, you can argue kind of lawyers and, you know, blood-sucking lawyers and all this lot, they're paid to do a job and they're doing their job to the best of their ability. You may not agree with it, you may know that they may know they're defending a guilty party, but that is what they are paid to do, and, you know, that's a different discussion. So they like to say they may just be throwing anything they can think of to try and get some leniency. But I just don't think it should stand at all. I don't think that should even be a consideration, because what you did, and the fact that you've done good things should not mitigate that, because what it implies is, okay, this is it. This is my selling point to you. What it implies is that if you've lived an ordinary life, you've been a good man or a good woman, but you've lived an ordinary life and you do something bad, you get the full sentence. If you've lived a life where you get to make movies or paint incredible pictures or sing songs and have some level of fame or celebrity, you do the same bad thing, but because you've done these things, that's not as important. The bad thing doesn't count as much, which is what you're saying. If you get a lower sentence for it, you're saying in this particular thing, if you have an ordinary life but you murder somebody, you go to prison for, let's just put a figure out there, 15, 20 years. But you're a celebrity and you murder somebody. But because of your good work is taken into account, you go to prison, let's say it's successfully argued, and you go to prison for 5 years, 8 years. The message that sends is that that life that you took is not as important as the life that the ordinary guy took. That's the message it sends. It's like, no, you know, so-and-so killed somebody and got 20 years. He got 8 years. Yeah, but his last album was a banger. Doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter. And I think it's a very dangerous precedent, basically saying if you build up enough goodwill, you can do something horrible and essentially not get away with it, but have someone go easy on you. So that's my fear here. That's the worry, and that's why I think it shouldn't count in this case or any case going forward. Anyway, so like I say, we'll see what the sentence is. This may be a moot point. He may get the sentence he was going to get all along. Whatever sentence he gets, some people will argue it's not enough, some people argue it's too much, because that's what we do. Hopefully the women involved in this will think justice is done. The fact that he's convicted, I think they were already saying, it feels we've been vindicated, we've been heard, and justice will be served. So hopefully the sentence will be appropriate. And I'm not the person to say what that is. What I'm just saying is it shouldn't be lessened because of his good stuff. It shouldn't. Those scales shouldn't tip like that. I don't think they should. Anyway, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think down below. When the sentence comes out, stick it in the comments as well, so when other people come in and visit and can kind of see what it is. And yeah, that's it. So just a quick thought for you. Let's leave it at that for now. I will see you on Sunday with another full video. But for now, I hope you have a good Wednesday night, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.